Oh, hi there. Welcome to another episode of Vault. This is episode 8 entitled Victory. I know it's been some time since the last episode. It's great to see everybody again, and it's great to be making a video like this again. I will be putting this up for auction at the end of the video, so please bid. Remember, I have a $700,000 goal to meet if you watched last episode, where I can buy the Metropolis poster from no less than Leonardo DiCaprio himself. So please bid with your generous hearts. Today we'll be talking about one of my favorite topics and my passion and my first love in history, the sea and maritime naval history. For today, we will be looking at two different prints from my favorite marine artist of all time. His name is Geoff Hunt, and we will be looking at number 1, the heavyweight punch, and number 2, victory races Temeraire for the enemy line. Now, naval maritime history intrigues and inspires me the most out of all of the topics that I study in history. There's just something about the sea, the vastness of its grandeur, the endless horizons, the depths of its secrets, the romance of human exploration and discovery, and the tragedy of conflict in the sea. The depths, there is a song, there is a hymn beyond and beneath the waves. There is a profound impact of maritime endeavors on the course of human civilization, which I just love to explore. When I was in secondary school, that's when my love for naval history started to develop. In our syllabus, we had to study World War II, and in World War II, one of the major campaigns that lasted throughout was the Battle of the Atlantic. And there was just something about submarine warfare and anti-submarine warfare that just drew me into this particular field of history, and I never looked back from there. And later on in JC, I went on to continue history, and I did another syllabus, but also European history. This time round, we did learn about the Napoleonic era, the war and conflict going on at that point in time. And there was one seminal event that stuck with me from then till now, almost 2 decades later, one that continues to inspire me, the Battle of Trafalgar, of which today's 2 prints are based on. Alright, so now let's get on to the prints themselves. You can see they are actually behind me over here in my living area. Now, both of these prints, they are by the same marine artist. His name is Geoff Hunt. He is one of Britain's leading artists, and at one point in time, he was the president of the Royal Society of Marine Artists. Most of his work concerned the Napoleonic era, and you might have seen his work before, especially if you are a fan of historical fiction, when you read Patrick O'Brien's novels, such as things like Master and Commander. Interestingly enough, there is a personal story of mine to this as well. As you know, I'm a big fan of Geoff Hunt, and when I went on to King's, I studied under this professor. His name is Professor Lambert, Andrew Lambert. And when I went into his office one day just to have a casual conversation about naval history and naval warfare, he brought to my attention one of his books, and I realized that the artwork looked pretty familiar to me. And I was like, hey, wait a minute, isn't this something by Geoff Hunt? And he said, yeah, he knows Geoff Hunt, and he actually commissioned Geoff Hunt to do the artwork for his first book. This book called Battleships in Transition, the creation of steam battleships from 1815 to 1860. So it was pretty cool to draw that connection and to triangulate that all 3 of us are kind of from different places and different time periods and so on and so forth, but yet there is that connection out of seemingly nowhere that drew all of us together. So that was pretty cool. Another cool point is that Geoff Hunt's studio is at this place called Merton Place, and it was actually Admiral Nelson's house. And so, as an unabashed and unashamed fanboy of both Professor Andrew Lambert as well as Geoff Hunt, I scoured the city of London to see if I could get the first edition of his first book, which I finally managed to do so, and here it is. So you can see it's in plastic wrapping right now because it's really precious to me. Inside this book, I have gotten Prof. Lambert's signature as well, so it's really precious. and this is a Geoff Hunt's artwork. Another title that I would highly recommend for you to read is also by Prof. Lambert, and this is a title called Sea Power States. It's a concept, and I strongly urge anyone seeking to understand the relationship between the sea and history and civilizations and nations to pick up this book and have a read for yourself. Singapore is mentioned in this as well. So before we go into the artworks themselves, perhaps it might be a good idea to understand what prints are. Now, prints are essentially reproductions that capture the essence and the beauty of the original painting, but it makes it accessible to the wider audience in that I can literally hang them in my home. Usually these prints are commissioned or they are authorized by the artists themselves, and they can involve really technological methods like scanning, as well as high-level professional photography in order to create the reproduction. This also benefits the artist actually because it allows the artist to reach out to a broader audience. In a sense, this is kind of like a democratization of art where the masses, like me for instance, get to participate in art history and the art movement and in the particular historical event as well. Now, these two prints in particular, the Heavyweight Punch and Victory Races the Temeraire, they are signed and numbered by the artist himself, Geoff Hunt. For the Heavyweight Punch, it is 6 out of 750, and for Victory Races Temeraire, it is 796 out of 850. Both of the artwork that I have, they are slightly more unique in that the artist's signature is in pencil mark, so that means it is hand signed, and this might distinguish it from other editions out there. These are also single edition reprints, and these are made available, authorized by the artist himself. Now, going into the first print itself, the Heavyweight Punch, it is such a majestic and awe-inspiring recreation of what it was like at the Battle of Trafalgar. It is a scene that depicts one of Admiral Nelson's most famous commands, the HMS Victory at the Battle of Trafalgar. The Heavyweight Punch depicts 3 ships. The first, HMS Victory, which is at 100 guns and also the flagship of the British fleet. The Temeraire, which is my personal favorite, at 98 guns, and the Neptune at 98 guns as well. All 3 ships, they were leading the line at Trafalgar on the 21st of October 1805, and they were moving towards the combined Franco-Spanish fleet. Personally, I've had the extreme privilege, joy and honor to make my way down to the Portsmouth Historic Dockyard, where I got to see firsthand the HMS Trafalgar, and I was in tears. It was such an emotional moment for me. It was something I dreamt of when I was a JC kid at 17, 18 years old, and I never ever expected that one day I would be up close with HMS Victory itself. The moment was so historic, and I felt almost as if the spirit of Admiral Nelson and all those there at the Battle of Trafalgar were with me at that point in time. Now, onward to the second print. The second print is entitled Victory Races Temeraire to the Enemy Line. For all of the drama that the Battle of Trafalgar was, the lead up to the battle itself actually was pretty glacial. It took place at a walking pace. There were light winds at that point in time. In fact, HMS Victory took almost 6 hours to get within range of the Franco-Spanish enemy line. When they finally approached, the HMS Temeraire overtook HMS Victory, to which Admiral Nelson wasn't too particularly impressed, and he relayed this message to the captain of the HMS Temeraire. He said, "I'll thank you, Captain Harvey, to take your proper station." There is just so much romance and beauty in the valor of war, in the gentlemanly conduct of battle at that point in time, and in the duty to nation. Of course, one of the most famous signs and messages that came out of the Battle of Trafalgar was when Nelson raised his flags on his flagship HMS Victory and the message read, "England expects that every man will do his duty." And I get goosebumps, like literally getting goosebumps just relating this history back to you. It is such an awe-inspiring moment, and it has seen me through 2, maybe 3 decades of my life till this point in time. Pretty awesome moment. So quite often, whenever I'm feeling uninspired, I take a seat on the sofa right here and I just stare at these 2 paintings and let them speak to me. The sea has a way of reaching out to you, and history always has a way of reaching out to you as well. And I hope that you have your own little piece of history somewhere in the sands of time that gives you that inspiration in the same way that the Battle of Trafalgar, Admiral Nelson, and HMS Victory and Temeraire has given me and has enriched my life for the last 2 decades. Thank you everybody for joining me on another episode of Vault. This has been episode 8, Victory. I will see you on the other side. Shane out.